It's challenge day.
Let us begin.
Bro, the Boeing company, I don't know. I don't know if I could trust. I don't know if I could trust. Jeff, have you ever checked the actual plane type when you check into your flight?
Um, Rarely, like, not like checked it out, but like
What
I
you,
would
you
say,
want to know what kind of plane it is specifically?
yeah, no, it would say like Boeing 760 something or whatever, and I'm like, okay, but I don't like look into it. Like, okay, what's a
No,
Boeing
dude. People got to be looking into that joint now. I think people are because these
Okay.
Boeing planes, man, they haven't had a good few years.
Had a pretty bad couple years.
Freaking 2018. What the BA Max 8 Lion Air? Remember Lion Air? You might have heard this in the news a lot. CNN went all over it with Flight 610.
Today's report blames a combination of design flaws, regulatory lapses, and a lack of training. It zeroed in on a now well-known automated system in these planes.
They did not recognize what happened to the aircraft.
At issue here is the so-called MCAS system. If instruments detected the nose getting too high, it would prompt the stabilizer in the tail to pitch the aircraft down. But the system depends entirely on a single sensor, which was improperly repaired. Boeing never told the pilots about the system, so they didn't know how to react when it malfunctioned. In a statement, Boeing says it's updating training and manuals as well as the software.
I heard this in the news a lot. CNN went all over it with Flight 610. Crashed. 189 people aboard died. 2019, the following year. MAX 8 Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crash. Kills 157 people.
Dang, I flew Ethiopian Airlines too. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Boeing plane. 2019 to 2020. They said March 13th had an incident, and November 18th they had an incident. On 2020, FAA grounded order of BA Max 8 jets. Right? These are different planes. Different plane Max 8. Oh no, okay, all of those are Max 8s. Okay, all those Max 8s. And then in January 5th, 2024, the BA 737. So this is the 737. This is a different plane, but it's Boeing. The door plug blew out during Alaska airline flight. So this joint is happening in freaking Ethiopia. This joint is happening in Alaska. FAA temporarily ground certain 737s MAX jets on January 6th. That's this year. January 11th, FAA investigation of Boeing begins, right? So this is January 11th. January 23, Alaska Airlines CEO, he declares that loose bolts were found on many 737 MAX jets.
What?
That was this year, on many. January 24th, FAA clears 737 MAX 9 jets to fly, but halts production expansion. Right? Oh man, I think those were the planes too that like they what they did is they, instead of building a completely new plane, they pretty much retrofitted their old fleet, but to save the money, but they retrofitted so much that it actually kind of flew differently. It had different components. And so part of why they did that though was A, you didn't have to build a whole new plane. But B, you could say, hey, your pilots don't need more training because y'all been flying these planes. These are the same planes. But they retrofitted them enough to where they flew completely different. So the pilots, some of these pilots was like, this is like, I don't know how to fly this plane. The plane would do so. There was this one plane, I forgot which plane that was. I saw, there was this one plane that joint went up in the air straight up and it just came crashing back down. Because because of the stabilizer thing that keeps like the horizon thing, whatever.
Okay.
Like I guess the pilots didn't realize maybe that the plane was supposed to do it on its own or something. They're trying to, so they overcorrected. I don't remember. It was some crazy story I heard, but like they clearly could have gotten that lesson in the training simulator. But you ain't want no downtime for your pilots because there's a shortage of pilots because they're getting mad old. They're retiring because you get old enough, you know what I mean? You probably shouldn't be flying planes anymore, but like, it costs an arm and a leg to go to pilot school. Right? So what was that? That was January 24th. I left off February 21. Boeing replaces head of 737 MAX program. March 11th, FAA audit finds dozens of issues in 37 MAX production, right? And then March 25th, was not too long ago, a couple months ago. Now, this ain't the past. We're talking about planes that y'all was in a couple of months ago. You was in this plane, right? Boeing announced the CEO Dave Calhoun and board chair Larry Kellner will step down by the end of 2024. They are gutting the company. They're getting the people out. There's like, this place is just,
Man,
this is going through turmoil. Imagine, imagine, Joe, what plane you about to be on?
That's what I'm
What
about to check
plane you
right
about to
now.
be on? Like,
I'm about to look into it right now.
imagine you going to like a dentist
Crazy.
office, and then like you hear just like, or you got a new job. Let's say you get a new job,
Mhm.
and you get this new job, you get into this place, and you hear the oldest, the tenure is like 3 months here, 6 months there, because so much turnover. Because things have been this bad.
That's not gonna sit well with me at all.
There's been all kinds of findings that the
Yeah.
equipment that y'all use is faulty.
I'm
That
gonna
y'all
be
doing
like,
shoddy work. People have
Mhm.
died from your dentistry. You know, that kind of like it's kind of wild, right? But this is planes that's carrying hundreds of people in, right?
Mhm.
And then just the other day, they're supposed to have a space launch. They're building a rocket to help bring astronauts
Oh yeah, I saw that.
to the space station.
Mhm.
And they had to call that off
Mhm.
because of a valve issue that they found. People like the astronauts was already strapped in 2 hours away from before liftoff. They up in there. NASA astronauts are up in there. Now you on a test. Now you hold on. And this is a test flight. So you a test pilot already, as risky as that is, and you a test pilot in a Boeing plane. Oh,
That doesn't sound very good.
oh my gosh! They might as well
Pretty
change
good.
that bit to Spirit Airline,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm.
it's like you gonna, bruh. Imagine Spirit. I wonder if Spirit have a
Bro.
bunch of Boeing planes. Okay, I'm
I
not
d-
even.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a good
let me
question. I
not
don't
even
know.
like Boeing and yo. This is one of the most profitable companies, engineering companies in America. There were whistleblowers that saw firsthand the wildness that's been going on with the quality control at this place.
It's not a Boeing plane, by the way, so I'm good.
Okay. Next thing you know, it's a subsidiary of Boeing or some joint.
That you know what? I think I'm gonna look at to see if it's a subsidiary. Go ahead.
Boeing faces 10 more whistleblowers after 2 die. And the quote coming out of this thing says, people's lives are at stake.
Mm.
This happened. This article is in the New York Post, reading it from March 4th. A second whistleblower has died under mysterious circumstances just 2 months after another one allegedly shot himself in the head. And the attorneys for both men
Wow.
hope their deaths don't scare away the at least 10 more whistleblowers who want the company to clean up its act. Joshua Dean, 45, a former quality auditor at Spirit Aura Systems, that's a little too close to Spirit Airlines, okay, which assembles fuselage sections for Boeing. He died Tuesday morning from a fast-growing mystery infection. Dean's death comes 2 months after Boeing whistleblower John Barnett, who's 62 years old, died from an apparently self-inflicted gunshot wound on March 9th.
Mhm.
Apparently, he's doing a lot of heavy lifting to me. Barnett, who had worked for Boeing for 32 years, was found dead in his Dodge Ram truck, holding a silver pistol in his hand in the parking lot of his South Carolina hotel after he failed to show up for the second part of his testimony for a bombshell lawsuit against the company. So he testified for that first part, and he's like, you know what? Court is running late today. Let's reconvene tomorrow for the second part of your testimony. And he happens to shoot himself like he had something to do the next day, but
Something.
his
Sounds-
conscience couldn't sit well with him anymore. He
Mhm.
couldn't finish that test. That bit seems hella fishy to me.
Says, fool me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Yeah.
I'm not the sharpest light bulb in the shed or whatever the saying goes. But son, at the same time, Boeing said last month that it lost 355 million on failing revenue in the first quarter, another sign of the crisis gripping the aircraft manufacturer as it faces increasing scrutiny over the safety of its planes and accusations of shoddy work from growing number of surviving whistleblowers. Now, it seems to me, I may not be the first to point this out, that this all happened like back. This happened. There was this company called McDonnell Douglas,
Mhm.
and they were a plane manufacturing outfit as well. I think this is like late 90s, and they had a merger with
Okay.
Boeing. Boeing used to have like a stellar reputation for its engineering and its quality control.
Mhm. Mhm.
When they merged with McDonnell Douglas, who was already known for being just for like high turnover, one of these like burn and churn kind of place. We're trying to like get more numbers up in terms of production.
Mhm.
People started noticing that the work, like people that work at Boeing started noticing like
Work
the
hard started
shifting
to-
in work. As a matter of fact, the McDonnell
Mm.
Douglas president became the Boeing CEO off this merger.
Mm.
So whatever culture and granted McDonnell Douglas was smaller, but whatever culture that little thing was, it's like they infected like a parasite into Boeing and turned Boeing into its own. It's McDonnell Douglas under a different name.
Okay.
And the culture of Boeing, they moved from Seattle to Chicago, where Seattle was like the hub of all of the research development and like the brains of the operation was happening in Seattle. They moved it all to Chicago. It's wild that they completely had a transformation of the company like that, and we're seeing the work product as we speak, and people's lives are on the line
Mm.
because of profit.
Yeah.
McDonnell Douglas has always been worried about profit. That's all they were. And so now they have the profit and the engineering together. They figured they could maybe meet somewhere in the middle when really the quality is what matters the most when something like a plane.
Yeah.
These astronauts can't even get into space. Bro, we are really playing with our lives here. When I was in the Navy, I worked in aviation. We would shut the entire airfield down if a screw was missing that wasn't accounted for.
Yeah. Facts.
If
Facts.
we had a tool that we were using and it chipped, that plane ain't flying no more until we specifically can account for that little chip that fell off that screw. When they brought the tool back to the logistics department,
Mhm.
we checked all the tools and the specs of all. Wait a minute, you bought this case, this Allen wrench set you took with you that had 30 pieces, and now I see 29, bruh. And this is the military we're talking about. Lives are at risk. Matter of fact, even if that piece isn't on the plane, let's say it's on the ground, the jets that come up and down these runway, that backwash can send that thing as a projectile and kill somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, it can. Yeah.
We stood side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and walked the entire airfield every morning, pick up every little thing that looked like it could become a projectile.
That's crazy, bro.
And we found things. We found like a zip tie here and there. You know what I mean? We find somebody's like a battery or something. And we'd find things. A glove. So that's what we're doing in the military. And Boeing is just letting freaking valves fly. They just letting freaking doors being all unhinged and all that kind of stuff.
Just do whatever they want to do, apparently. That's crazy.
That quality control hit different
It really does.
now. And be careful out there. I'm not trying to tell people be paranoid about, you know, because it's still safer than car travel, but you know, there's a lot less planes in the air than there are cars in the road.
It's challenge day.